Hi everyone, and welcome back, or welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Louisa. I'm in my third year of studying at the University of Cambridge. In this video, I'm going to be explaining what my third year has been like and what my course is. I'm basically a medical student, so I'm here for 6 years, but the third year is different, and I haven't studied medicine for the last year. I took a year out to study something different. I'm going to explain what that was in this video. I'm going to explain the course structure. So hopefully if you're considering applying to medicine at Cambridge, this will help demystify what the course is like. But also if you're just considering medicine at any uni and you're interested in what the courses are like at different universities, then hopefully this is useful. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Okay, so we'll start with what I'm doing. So I've already said I'm in my third year, or I've just finished my third year of studying at Cambridge, and I'm a medical student. So I'm technically on a 6-year course. I won't become a doctor until after, well, I won't graduate until after the 6th year with my medical degree. But Cambridge is a bit weird, and it's got all its weird traditions. And one of them is that for the first 3 years of pretty much every course, you study something called tripos, which is weird and mad and is wrapped up in history, but effectively what I understand it to mean, it comes from exams where students used to sit on a 3-legged stool, and that's why it's called the tripos, it's the 3-legged stool. And that then translated through the years, through the centuries, into exams and the course structure over 3 years. So most undergraduate degrees in the UK are 3 years long. That's standard. What's different at Cambridge is that it's split into this tripos thing where you do part 1, so that's the first 2 years. Usually that's called part 1A and part 1B. And then in the third year you take something called part 2. And then if you want to do a master's, you can do part 3. But part 1A, 1B and part 2, or part 1, 2A and 2B, those parts 1 and 2 add up to make the tripos and the 3 years. And then you get a degree after 3 years. And then in my case, I then go on and do 3 more years, and I go off to clinical school and I become a doctor. So that's an overview of the most courses at Cambridge, plus my extra 3 years I'll be doing from September onwards. I was studying the medical and veterinary sciences tripos, which basically means medicine or vet med, for the first 2 years. So I did part 1A and part 1B in MSVT, and that means I studied things like physiology, anatomy, neurology, biochemistry, all of that for 2 years. And then after those 2 years, I take my part 2. It's not just Cambridge that does this, but lots of medical schools do this thing called an intercalation, where you basically take another subject for 1 year and then you get a degree at the end of that year. And at Cambridge, it's really cool because you do it for your part 2. And as a lot of other subjects are doing their part 2 at the same time, you can basically slot into any part 2 of any other subject you like. One of the courses at Cambridge that's pretty big and popular is called natural sciences. And under natural sciences, there's lots of different part 2 options. You can do biochem, you can do pathology, you can do zoology. I took a subject called history and philosophy of science. So that is what I have been doing for my part 2. That's what I've done this last year. That involved me writing a dissertation, an extended essay, and taking 3 exams, each of which included 4 essays. So I've now done a year of studying history and philosophy of science for my part 2, as well as 2 years of studying preclinical medicine. And as I've done 3 years, I've effectively studied for a degree. So I will graduate at the end of this year with a degree in natural sciences, in history and philosophy of science. So that's cool. And if I want to, I can leave, I can take that degree. I can go now and just leave and go to work and not continue with the rest of the medical degree. But I'm here because I want to be a doctor. So I am going to continue off to clinical school, which is basically why the course at Cambridge is purely preclinical and clinical, because it's taught in this 2 halves type thing where you do 3 years lectures and learning and like a normal uni student, and then you do 3 years just basically all at hospital. I will be going off to clinical school in September, and then I will be doing 3 years of rotations around various different blocks, learning about all of the medical stuff again, so picking up some stuff I did in part 1A and 1B in my first and second year, as well as speaking to actual patients and doing a bit more hands-on type stuff. So that's an overview of basically the whole course structure. I will just run you through some of the different part 2 options, and this is definitely a key selling point for why studying medicine at Cambridge is so cool. It's the same with vet med as well. There's a lot on offer in your third year. So you can take this 1 year to basically do what you want. You don't have to transfer to a natural sciences course. You don't have to do something like I did, like history and philosophy of science, or zoology, or biochem, or pathology, or physiology. You can do something completely different. So if you wanted to do part 2 in classics, you can do that, or part 2 in English, because that's the way the tripos works at Cambridge. It basically means everyone starts afresh each year, and when you start part 2, you're kind of starting new content. Often it's a dissertation, it's coursework, and then exams. So you can kind of slot into that. At Cambridge, the only couple of exceptions are things like engineering, music. There's a couple of courses where the whole course is different anyway, and it's not really tripos. So engineering is 4 years at Cambridge. It's like part 1A. I want to say it's 1A, 1B, 2A and 2B, so it's 4 years. And if you transfer to the part 2, you obviously do 2A and 2B. So you have to do 2 years of engineering. So you would actually, if you want to get the medical degree afterwards, you have to do 7 years in total. So you do medicine for 2 years, engineering for 2 years, and then medicine for 3 years. Again, the other one is law. So if you want to do law, you have to transfer into part 2, and then you do 2 years. I want to say it's because it's 2A and 2B. It might be that it's just really hard, so you have to do 2 years to catch up. And then with things like music, where you need a good grounding before you can take the final year, again, they might make you do another year. But usually it's just a 1 year thing where you do a different subject. But it's really cool because there's so much on offer. Even under natural sciences, I already rattled through a load, but even HPS, I found it to be so different to anything I've been used to in my first and second year. So I'm now going to talk about what HPS is, or History and Philosophy of Science, and that's the subject I just did this year. So in a few of my YouTube videos, if you go back this year, you'll see inconsistencies, because some of them I opened by saying that I'm in my 3rd year of studying medicine. Some of them I opened by saying I'm in my 3rd year studying History and Philosophy of Science, both of which are true. I'm still a medical student, but I'm studying History and Philosophy of Science this year. And I took 3 papers. I took papers in Ancient and Early Medicine, Modern Medicine, so that's like Victorians and stuff, and Medical Ethics. Nearly forgot. Medical Ethics and like Philosophy of Science. So that's what I've been studying in my lectures. And then in my free time, I've written a dissertation. My dissertation was on climate anxiety and should it be renamed, because it's not really like a actual clinically diagnosed condition. It's actually rational. It's a good, well, it's a productive thing. It's something that is like reasonable to have. So basically, looking at the definition of what is anxiety and how to justify climate anxiety. And then my extended essay is the other piece of coursework I did, and that was 5,000 words on feminist household economic literature and feminist households, and the COVID-19 vaccination policy, which is basically where the whole thing came from, my whole project, because they vaccinated households rather than like individual people. And basically there's this theory that households is a really outdated and misogynistic and like wrong term to use, and it's just like really inefficient. So why did the government use it? So that was what I did for my coursework. Each thing I took was worth 20%. So my 3 papers and my dissertation and my essay, each of those was worth 20%. So I had 3 exams and 2 pieces of coursework basically. So it's a very nice year, very chill compared to my second year. If you go back and watch my video from the end of last year, I had 14 exams in the summer, or like 13 or 12 in the summer and 2 in March. So having 3 this year was really chill. They were also online, open book, at home, no invigilator. So that was also very nice. I could do them in my pajamas, sit on my bed and write my essays. So it was very chill. So I really appreciated that. So it's been nice to have a break. As much as I have enjoyed and loved part 1A and 1B and found it really interesting, and I'm so looking forward to going to clinical school, it's been really nice to have a break for a year and just try something out and do something different. And also I feel like I've got a different perspective now on where medicine comes from and the history of medicine. So would recommend taking HPS if you ever get into Cambridge and that's what you want to do in your 3rd year. But yeah, it's open to vets as well and all of the natural sciences students, and we share papers with philosophy students, economics students. So there's a lot of different students taking HPS modules, so it's cool because you get to meet lots of different people. But it's basically the same with all part 2. Like zoology, they share lectures with plant sciences and with the physiology, development and neuroscience lectures. So you get to meet people from across the university, and it's just been a great year. I've really enjoyed it. An update on graduation. So if you've seen my last video, you'll know that there was a marking boycott going on, and there was a lot of uncertainty about whether or not we were going to get our grades. And the update is I'm not going to get my grade until a lot later down the line. I don't know when that will be, whenever they decide to stop the strike, probably, hopefully soon. Hopefully they get pay rise thereafter and then students can get their grades. But yeah, I'm not getting mine anytime soon. But the university did decide to put measures in place that would allow us to basically have a graduation ceremony. So I will be having a graduation ceremony, but it will be without the certificate, but that's fine. I don't mind. It's a ceremony that I'm looking forward to, not so much. I don't really mind about my grade, but yeah, that will be coming up next. Well, actually it's this week, so that's exciting. But I've got a couple other videos coming out for you in the following couple weeks. I've vlogged one of the balls this year. We've just had May week, so last year I did King's Affair and the June event. This year I vlogged Jesus May Ball, and I've got a video on my exams, which I also vlogged a bit of, so you can see what it's like to take Cambridge exams. So I'll hopefully edit those videos for you soon. But that's it for now. If you have any questions about taking part 2 or just like the course overall at Cambridge, how it works, what the structure is, how it's different to Oxford, which basically in summary, they don't take as many subjects, so you have to do a science research project, whereas we can do whatever we want. If you have any questions about that, let me know, drop them down in the comments, and otherwise I will see you all in my next video. Take care guys, bye.